The assistance provided by the Ambazonia interim government under Dr. Sacco during World Refugee Day 2023 was commendable, and the Ambazonian government has been vocal in calling for more international support for the refugees and has urged the UNHCR and other organizations to increase their funding and assistance. Following the advocacy made by the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Dr. Samuel Ikome Sacco, for 2023, the UNHCR has made available a budget of $91 million to support Southern Cameroonian refugees in Nigeria. The funds will be used to provide food, healthcare, shelter, and other basic needs, as well as education and livelihood opportunities. However, the budget is less than half of what the UNHCR estimates is needed to adequately support these refugees.
Our reports from the ABC Amba TV newsroom says that the United Nations High Commission for Refugees has begun verification of some 18,000 Southern Cameroonian and Ambazonian refugees in Calabar, capital of Cross River State, Nigeria. The refugees who are camped in different locations in Cross River were asked to come with their fact sheets and other relevant documents to be verified as registered refugees. According to UNHCR, the verification is to improve its data on the economic capacities within the population, identify persons with specific needs, and extremely vulnerable persons. It also targets them for life-saving interventions, including food assistance, non-food items, and livelihood support.
Speaking to journalists on Wednesday in Calabar, Udama Stephen, a psychiatric nurse working with Red Cross Society, noted that the refugees were in Calabar to renew their identity cards, which were issued by the UNHCR as a source of identification. Stephen said that the data the organization had showed that about 18,000 refugees from southern Cameroon would partake in the exercise, and as they brought their cards, they would be treated free of charge. What we do here is also basically primary health care. We deal with common sicknesses like malaria, typhoid, ulcer, cold, body pains, and so on. But if it is beyond primary level, we refer them to a more complex health facility, they noted. Some of them are sick because they lack access to health care. Some are physically challenged, and majority of them don't have jobs. So the duty of UNHCR is to take care of their basic needs, which include their health need, said the UNHCR.
Well, other needs include their nutrition, financial support, and empowerment for the less privileged, which basically for the Southern Cameroon refugees in Cross River State. And we've seen their interim government do that this period when they give out some financial aids and support to the elderly and some of the men as well. Similarly, an official of the Nigerian Immigration Service who preferred to be anonymous said the officers were present in the verification center to provide security. He also noted that they were also ensuring that people who partake in the exercise were truly Southern Cameroonians and Ambazonians. On his part, one of the refugees, a 35-year-old Tamfu Diodone from the Ambazonian side, narrated his ordeal and why he decided to flee to Nigeria. According to him, he said he was a university campus driver but had to flee to Nigeria after his cousin, who was also a driver, was shot in the head by La Republic de Cameroon soldiers.
It's understandable that the interim government may feel frustrated by the slow progress and lack of resources to support the refugees. It's a complex and challenging situation, and it's easy to feel powerless in the face of such a massive humanitarian crisis. But it's important to remember that even small contributions can make a difference. This is why President Sacco more often than not drafts and calls on Ambazonians of goodwill to also draft in order for such challenges to be overcome. The crisis began in 2016 when the colonial government of neighboring La Republic de Cameroon launched a crackdown on peace-loving and justice-seeking Southern Cameroon Ambazonians, only asking for their fundamental rights within an unholy union. As a result, hundreds of thousands of people were displaced and many fled across the border into Nigeria, Ghana, and more. And the majority of the refugees are living in camps.
To start with, the living conditions in the refugee camps are very difficult. The camps are overcrowded and there is lack of access to basic services such as clean water, sanitation, and healthcare. Many refugees are living in makeshift shelters made of straw and plastic sheetings, which are inadequate to offer maximum protection against any danger. Food is also scarce, and many refugees are malnourished. In addition to these physical challenges, many refugees are struggling with mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, and PTSD. Beyond the physical and mental health issues, the refugees also face a number of other challenges. They are often discriminated against and stigmatized by the local community, and many of them have experienced violence or been denied access to basic services.
Many children are unable to attend school, and as a result, they are at risk of failing and falling behind and missing out on opportunities for the future. In addition, the refugees are often exploited by criminals and human traffickers who take advantage of their vulnerable situation. Another major challenge facing the refugees is the lack of legal documentation. Many of them do not have identity documents or other forms of official identification, which makes it difficult for them to access services and move freely. This also makes them vulnerable to exploitation and abuse, as they have no way to prove who they are or where they come from.
In addition, many refugees are afraid to return to their homeland when their independence has not been achieved, as they fear persecution or violence from the enemy. Many of them have also had their homes destroyed or their properties confiscated, and they have nowhere to go back to. It's a very complex and challenging situation, and I think it's important for people to be aware of the full scope of the problem. As a matter of fact, the international community has not given the conflict in the southern Cameroon the attention and resources it deserves. It's often overshadowed by some other conflicts in the region, such as the conflict in other parts of the world or the continent, like in Niger, the war in southern Sudan. Meanwhile, the conflict in the Cameroon has had a devastating impact on the lives of hundreds of thousands of people, and then we think it deserves more recognition and support.